And welcome back to the Adam Messer Show here on WRU LP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul, and this is the second hour talking with my special guests today, Michelle Cornwell-Jordan and Erwin Chung. And thanks, y'all, for hanging out with me today and talking filmmaking and storytelling and stuff.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Yeah, so, we were talking like right at the wrap up of the last hour. And if everybody, if you're just tuning in now and you missed it, you can catch it later on the AdamMessershow.com. That's the podcast. But we were talking about how we got into storytelling and, like our creative sides or whatever. Something that struck me, Erwin, I never thought about somebody else having that same feeling about, the 9-to-5 gig, and then, that, because you have to pay your bills, you have to live,
Right.
It's weird because I know a lot of people that they will say that they're full-time, writers or whatever, but they're full-time, but they're being subsidized by somebody else. Somebody is paying the bills. Somebody pays for the rent and or the mortgage or the light bill or whatever. And, so they're able to do that because their life is being sustained, by their partner or parents or whomever, supports them or whatever. And, I think it's great. I mean, I love it that, some people are able to do that. But there are a lot of us, and Michelle, I know that you work a lot. There are a lot of us that, we work like a regular gig, and we do our art, we do our stuff, so Erwin, the question I have for you is like, you're a working artist and, you're a working actor. What is that like versus like when you were working your 9-to-5 and then, getting into the acting and all?
Well, I still have a 9-to-5 job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I still.
So you're just like us.
Yeah, and
I take the question back then. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. I'm kidding.
In Dallas, and sometimes when I went back to New York when I was laid off, I worked for 6 months there taking gigs, and like you said, I could live at my parents' or my brother and sister's place fine and with it. But in Dallas, I still do my 9-to-5, but a lot of the gigs here, and I'm fortunate where I have enough PTO and my boss is lenient enough. If I get a gig, I can take my PTO or comp some time, but I do work, a lot of hours. And I do like what I do for 9-to-5, which, it's a lot of IT and computer work. But I also, in my spare time, I do a lot of acting after hours, overnight. But none of that really seems like work to me now. Not like when I first got off got off of college and got a job, and I was gung ho about, I was in engineering then and doing that. But you're missing something that you really want to get into. That's just, that's like whatever, you can't really quantify that as something you feel and something in your heart that you want to do. But the safe thing to do is, and what you hear growing up, at least for me, and my thing is, you need to get a career and this and that. But and it's funny, my parents tell me that, and my dad's, is a very good artist. He paints all the time, especially now that he's retired, and he has like hundreds of paintings.
Oh wow!
But yeah, and it's. And I told Michelle, I was actually gonna head out to LA and spend time there, trying to act and come back, every so often, because I still really love living in Dallas. Because coming from New York, there's lots of room here.
Right.
But yeah, no.
Everything's bigger in Texas, right?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of lucked out with the situation that happened this year, because the people I was rooming with, we had 3 pets, and a lot of LA apartments that we saw only allowed 2. So I kind of stayed behind because of a couple. But then the COVID thing hit, and it was not a really good year to go out there.
Oh yeah, I bet. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but like working, I still work. Like I worked on the project when they filmed that Fox pilot, The Gifted, which is kind of an X-Men TV show a few years ago, and they filmed at night. So literally, I went to work 9 to 5. I showed up on set at 6, and they kept me for 8, 9, 10 hours, whatever the SAG hours are.
wow,
And then I would like sleep 3 hours and go back to work. So,
wow.
but I kind of enjoyed it, even though I was there 6 days and I only filmed like 2 days because the rest of the time I was just sitting there. And if you're an actor, you know, there's a lot of waiting.
Yeah, Michelle, what's your take on the question?
I've also worked full time, and it is it is
I can barely
complicated.
hear you, Michelle. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said that I also work full time, so it is a challenge to juggle the projects. I have a really, really bad habit of, I think, maybe doing too many things at one time.
Oh, I'm
Um,
guilty of that,
you
Michelle.
know,
I am guilty of that.
I do, and then so I think it does give you some sense of peace because I use the job helps fund portions of the project. You know, if it's a indie film or publishing costs or whatever. I think it is awesome if a person has the ability to be a full time writer or whatnot. You know, if their writings are supporting them or their projects are supporting them, I think that's fabulous. But as Erwin said, I, I I don't think I would have had peace to be a starving artist. I mean, I it have nothing against anyone that throws it all in and goes for it that way. But I think there's a sense of security also being a working artist. That's being taken care of, or you've got what you need to take care of, but you can focus over here. What you are going to probably lose a little bit is the extra downtime or whatnot. But if, as Erwin said, if this is what you enjoy doing, then it's not going to feel like it's work. So I've gotten used to getting up at 4 a.m. and having to be somewhere, at 7, or getting up at 2 or staying up to 1 and then, or whatever, working 7, working on the weekends just to go back in the week or whatever, just to
Yeah.
be able to make that time.
I never, it's so weird, but I never feel taxed by doing my art.
Mm-hmm.
I feel invigorated. Now, don't get me wrong. There's
Mm-hmm.
sometimes where I feel tired. There's sometimes where I work on something and, like it's just, like for example, formatting, like Word, getting the Word document formatted correctly so it'll go on to, the publishing or whatever. And there's, there was like I did these every other chapter or every other little story had its own headline or its own header, and they were alternating headers or whatever. Man, it took me forever to get that right. Yeah, it was just one of those things. But I never, I don't feel tired from doing that kind of stuff. And I'm like you, sometimes I'll wake up at, like you usually get up every day at 5, but sometimes I wake up a little bit earlier or start working on something or whatever. I mean, like yesterday, I did 3 podcast interviews for a different show that I'm going to be putting out in January. And it didn't feel
Right.
like work, just,
Mm-hmm.
coming in today doing the radio show, even though the radio show is only 2 hours, it is, another half hour, 45 minutes, to upload and get everything ready. And, there's like stuff that goes into it, setting, because I'm a one person show, I do all that stuff. I get, the interview set up and all that. I never feel like it's work though. I mean, it is work. It is getting a lot of stuff done, but it's never
Right.
taxing, because
Right.
I know these are like the things that have to go into, doing the, the show or whatever. And getting into filmmaking, oh my gosh, I've got the bug now, y'all. I mean, I love it. My buddy Josh and I, he actually sent me a text message because he's been doing the principal photography. We've both been directing with it. Like he's been the lead director, I've been like the assistant director more so, and then I've been doing the casting, and we've been with the screenwriting stuff. Like we've been doing like all of it. Like on the zombie thing, we were doing the makeup, we were doing all this stuff, like getting props and all this stuff. and it is so much fun. I mean, like, Michelle, you didn't tell me how much fun it was last time we were talking, like actually getting there and directing. I was like, oh man, it's like, I love it. I just love it. Like, matter of fact, I'll give you an example of like how working together works out so great. When you're both like willing to work together, like Josh and I are like we're a team in this. We had this idea, and I don't want to give any spoilers away, okay? But we had this idea for how we wanted the zombie shoot to be, and with the scenes for the zombies or whatever. And there was this. We were almost done, wrapping up shooting. It was just like a little 2-hour window. We didn't. I mean, it wasn't a big thing, but getting everybody together, yada yada yada, all the stuff or whatever. And like towards the end, I was like, hey, I'd like to get a scene. A shoot over here of the zombies doing this. Well, that turned out so well that's what we ended up wanting to use. And it's just us coming together with our different visions and working on it. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so much fun. Like even doing the little movie trailer for the book. The book itself has its own thing, but we did like a little movie trailer. Like a little movie short. Same kind of premise. It's all encapsulated, a little story. And it was so, I mean, like, I just loved it. I just loved it. And I don't know, we've got some more stuff that we're going to be working on. And man, it's just, I don't know. It never feels like work to me. It just feels like we're just, having fun, and we're doing work, but we're just having fun.
I'm excited because of Erwin's Road Gallery. I am. I'm going to have a fangirl. Right now, we got a little breather with 40W Media's things. And so Erwin he has his own production company, Next Edge Films.
Congratulations, Erwin.
He's doing Road Gallery, so I would love to hear more about that because I'm so excited for it. It's going to be great. It's sci-fi, so that's also my first love.
Yeah, I kind of tapped Michelle to be the director for so you mentioned the Rose Gallery. Right now it's a 6-episode semi-anthology kind of series, so each episode kind of has like a different story and lead. And the 3rd episode, which is called Half, I asked Michelle to direct it, which is not any of her sci-fi or Android, but episode 3 is actually it's kind of like your genre too, Adam. It's with it's fantasy with angels and demons, which is totally different from the first episode or second episode. The first episode is more Taoism and just
like mysticism.
Which is kind of like a Asian/anime Chinese background, and then the second one is more sci-fi-ish, which is with androids, and the third one is half, and they're all in kind of the same universe, and at the end, there's a common threat. But for Michelle, I asked her to direct it because I'm directing the second one and someone else directing the first one. It's a lot of work, but it's also a lot of fun. And I think there's a lot of you need help. You need friends to collaborate because to make it more than just your own. And I'm glad Michelle said she would do it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited that and so honored that he asked. I mean, I'm so excited. But I know I didn't mean that. I'm asking interview questions. And
oh no, go right ahead.
But Erwin has done a lot of sci-fi, other productions, and his work. Because I know we were just talking about the things he did for Media, but outside of that, he's done a lot. So I think all that experience and just his vision came alive in his script because I read the script for Half, and it's just his writing is incredible. You guys are in for a treat.
I'm looking forward to it because I love that kind of stuff. I love this kind of shows. It almost sounds like not necessarily like a Twilight Zone type thing, but kind of like a modern, like a, I don't know how to say it, like a different gallery of different, like, because it's Rogue's Gallery, so I'm just assuming, with the different themes or whatever, you've got. Does it all kind of persist? Does it like travel through time? I mean, what's the common thread with it?
The common thread is the protagonists are not necessarily look at they're I wouldn't want to use the word heroes because I don't want to make it kind of comic bookish. They're people that they might not be like the most outstanding, but they're not like villains either.
Mm-hmm.
But for whatever reason, a situation or anything, people look kind of them as misfits. I wouldn't say criminals. And they all have a common goal that eventually on episode 5 and 6 will bring them together.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's what people them, but they're not in the same. They're not in the same kind of genre. Like they're not all just one's an angel, one's an android, one's maybe a gangster, and they all have kind of special abilities, and they're all targeted by the same common criminal.
Oh, okay. So they have some kind of unknown ability that they're not really aware of, but this, the bad guy or whatever is trying to target them. That's cool, man. That's very cool. Yeah, I like that idea too. Like like misfits, not necessarily like outcasts or anything like that, or criminals, but like they're just, they're just not always. They don't always fit into societal norms.
Right. And a couple of them are considered criminals, and by law's eyes, but once you get to know them and see it, it's very on the border.
Yeah. How are you gonna publish it, or what are you gonna put it out on? Like, is it gonna be the same thing like Vimeo, or where are you gonna publish it? Where's it gonna be available? I mean,
it'll probably be on a streaming service, but we got a ways to go. It'll probably be by the end of next winter.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. I really do. It's always a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I hope it catches on. I hope
Everybody,
episode I hope catches your eye.
That's awesome. Everybody, you're tuning in today to WRU LP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. Yeah, that's the fun thing about it. It's like starting the new stuff. So, Michelle, when is your new series going to be coming out as well?
Lover's Contract. We're looking at next spring, in the summer.
Okay.
Possibly. It's going to be in editing. Right now we have our semi-confirmed hard date of completion for April. And then after that, we'll look at, we'll start setting the release date. Anywhere between, June to August, somewhere in there.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool.
It's a while. And that's one thing I had to learn. In this is patience. Especially with indie or small productions, I will plan like a year for these things. Like Monstrum, literally took a year to plan because how I tend to end up doing on the day we're filming one, we start developing the next.
Yeah.
So while we were on set for Lover's Contract, one of the director for Laney came in and was scouting for Laney, which we're going to shoot in next November. So it's just patience, and it takes a lot of work. I can't even look at TV right anymore, guys. I can't look at a movie because I'm thinking, oh my God, how long? How much did that cost? Or now that I see what the cinematographers go through, and now that, and I don't know anything, trust me, I have really very little knowledge of cinematography or editing or anything like that. But from what I've seen, it's a lot of work. And editing, putting those pieces together. So I'm thinking, I learned from Erwin and Mason and the other cinematographers I worked with, but I know Erwin's really helped me in seeing, and Mason, about the shot, the different, it takes like 8 to 10 different, for one scene, one little snippet, it could be like 10 shots. And so I'm thinking all of that, in the movies that we sit down and watch, or the shows we're looking at, and I have a different appreciation for all that work that went into that 30-minute sitcom or that film or whatnot. And,
it makes me think.
I really have an appreciation because it's a lot of work.
It is, and it makes me think about like when Shakespeare, he called the audience members groundlings, because they were on the ground and the stage or whatever. And I remember we talked about that in like English class, why he called them groundlings, and it's so weird to think about it. But the audience, you make these things for the audience. Like we write them for the audience. It could be just you. You could be the audience, right? But then when you're watching stuff as a creator, it's like all these different ideas percolate. You're like, oh wow, I really like the way that they did this shot, or that's something cool that I could do for, like I could take that and flip it around, for my story or something like that. Just something like I always love it when I see something clever and something different. Or like a new take on like a familiar story. Because really the stories we tell, you have a perspective of it, but we all kind of follow the same kind of like, not necessarily a format, but we all, we want a beginning, a middle, and an end for a story, and if it's disjointed, it's gonna, it's gonna throw people off. But I'm always intrigued too. Like, oh my gosh, I just, especially I love independent production stuff too, because I know like people are working, and they don't have huge budgets behind what they're doing, and I'm always impressed like when they pull stuff off. I'm like, like with your series with When Androids Dream and like with Monstrum, some of the special effects were like, wow, this is pretty good. I mean, like I like the whole the virtual scene where they had like the just using like the sunglasses type thing for the
oh right, Monstrum, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It was so clever.
Yeah,
it's like
experience.
Yeah, it was so clever, because nobody's gonna wear big bulky stuff, So you think like, oh wow, they got that down to like the size of just a regular pair of sunglasses,
I think also looking at a lot of different types of filmmaking. And different movies and different stories, because since I've written Monstrum, I've started looking at a lot of different like international stories and films, and I mean from different countries. I particularly like from those from that are Chinese or Korean, but I've looked at Brazilian. I've looked at a lot of different. I've really started looking at a lot of different types of shows and movies, and it's just that also starts to really it helps expand your thoughts and your thought processes and your creativity, because of one of the places that I look at the different shows, the audience, the viewers are able to comment live, or well, by the time you see it, it may be recorded, but they're commenting. And it is incredible how knowledgeable, because I wasn't that knowledgeable of the viewer. I mean, I knew what I liked and I didn't like, but, they'll talk about the writer did this, or the writer did that, or that's great acting, or, oh, this, that, and the other. And it's just really, over the last year or two, my mind has been expanded. It really has. And there is just, oh my gosh, incredibly talented people and directors and writers, and I'm thinking, oh, I want to be like them when I grow up. You know what I mean? I want to be like them. And so it's influenced a little how I write now. I can't replicate, or but I'm influenced by, and I think it's a process, and I'm enjoying it. So we were talking about those that are listening. If you do want to produce or write or something, look at a lot of different things. A lot of different directors, a lot of different styles you may not think you would be interested in. Try. You may not like sci-fi or fantasy or paranormal, but try. You never know. You don't see a lot of westerns. I was gonna say westerns. I don't see it. Do they still make them? I mean, I know they do, right?
Yeah, they
But
do.
I'm in
There's a
Texas.
yeah, there are. I love like British shows, and there was actually we talking about a Chinese film. Actually, I watched this one, and I'm not sure if it's actually Chinese or not, but it was called Lucky Grandma, and it came out this year, and I'm just pulled up the little thing. It says set in New York City, an ornery chain smoking Chinese grandma. Oh, it is Chinese. Okay, chain smoking Chinese grandma goes all in at the casino, landing herself on the wrong side of luck and in the middle of Chinatown gang war. That movie was such a good movie. Like literally, it was such a good movie, and
Yeah.
I don't know if it popped up as like one of my suggested movies because like the stuff I watch because I've been watching Upstart Crow, which is a British comedy, and like this other one called What We Do in the Shadows. I love Red Dwarf, but I like comedy, and I like I just like stuff that's different. I mean, like that Lucky Grandma, when it popped up, I was like, oh my gosh. And then what was that? There was a zombie movie. It was a Korean zombie movie that came out last year, but it wasn't a zombie movie.
Is it a Train to Busan?
That one, that was a good one. Yeah, that was a really good one.
I want to see. I want to see that.
That one's really good. I don't want to do any spoilers
I
on
do
it,
want to see
but
that. I think it's on the Train to Busan or something like that. But yeah.
I like watching different stuff too because I don't know you. Well, I don't want to knock anybody, but like, well, for example, Disney, when they took over Marvel and they got the rights to produce their movies and their stuff, Star Wars and Marvel and stuff like that. You have a very different feel with the Marvel movies with than Star Wars, but it's a lot of the same stuff. It's still the hero's journey, yada yada yada. But you would get a totally different feel for it than like with Marvel, like the live action stuff. You get a totally different feel for that than you do like watching anime. Anime it's just a totally different feel, and they're both they both are like comic books and stuff like that. So we've got to do a half-hour break. You gonna play some music for us, Sebastian? He didn't want to play at the beginning of the hour, so he's like, I'm going to play at the 30-minute mark. So I'm like, yeah, buddy, all right. Oh.
This portion of WRUU-LP Savannah Soundings programming is brought to you by listeners and the Ships of the Sea Museum. One of the hidden secrets of the Ships of the Sea Museum is its gardens. Native plants are interspersed with exotic tropical plants throughout the gardens. Visitors to Savannah can bring in their takeout meals and dine among the trident maples and use the complimentary Wi-Fi. You can find out more about the Ships of the Sea Museum at the website shipsofthesea.org.
What does it mean when we say that WRUU is a community radio station? It doesn't just mean that we invite the community to create programming, and it doesn't just mean that we are a voice for the community. It also means that we are counting on the community to keep us going, and you are the community. Almost all of our modest budget comes from small annual or monthly donations from listeners like you. You get to enjoy our community-focused programming because many others have stepped forward to do their part. Now do your part by joining our community of listener donors. Go to wruu.org right now and make a one-time or monthly donation, and thank you for supporting Savannah's community radio station, 107.5 FM.
WRUULP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul.
All right. And so, I kind of going back on topic there. I like watching some different stuff. What kind of stuff do you like to watch, Erwin?
I watch a lot of I watch anime, I watch cartoons, 70s shows, a lot of sci-fi. I do watch a lot of the new Marvel and Mandalay, but I also watch a lot of indie films. I watch a lot of stuff on Amazon Prime. I don't know. I don't have like a one favorite thing. I do watch and I like right now I'm like binge watching this show called The Outpost, which is kind of a fantasy, kind of Dungeons and Dragons kind of genre. And I think the first 2 seasons they filmed that in Utah, and the 3rd season they're filming it in Serbia, I think it was.
Oh wow!
So that kind of caught my eye. And then I also watched that new series. I think it's Upload, which was kind of interesting. If it's the near future, if you're about to die, you can choose to either go into surgery or upload your consciousness into this virtual world. And it was very interesting because it's kind of action, drama, and comedy. So you think it's a comedy the way they market it, but then there's a real kind of danger in the storyline, which was very interesting.
That's neat. Yeah. I watched they've got a new Simon Pegg and Nick Frost series that was on Amazon Prime. Oh gosh. Man, it's like a ghost hunter story series. Right. It just came out. I'm trying to think of the name of it. Oh my gosh. I'm at a loss here. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Trying to see. Truth Seekers. It's called Truth Seekers.
Yeah.
But I've been a big fan of their movies. They did like Shaun of the Dead, and they did what was it called, Hot Fuzz, and then one at World's End Tavern. And so I kind of, I don't know, like I have certain people that I like and I like to follow as well. I don't know if y'all are like that. One of my friends introduced me to a show called The Prisoner, which was set in like 1967. That was actually Terry Dremmel. And man, that show, it was, wow. It was only 1 season, but it was, it's definitely a very unique show. And it's got like a cult following to it. I mean, it's just a really neat show. But I love watching it. And now like we're kind of, getting it, like doing like a little bit here, like at least on my end. I do have more of appreciation of like, filmmaking and stuff. And even like what I thought were like bad films or whatever, I'm like, oh, at least they did it. They went out there and they tried, and
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm like that too. Anyone that has the courage to try, or sometimes you think it's a great idea and it falls short, but you can say to yourself, hey, we saw it all the way through, and then you know what to do the next time. So it's a learning process, I think.
Mm-hmm. And the weird thing about it is, I don't know what it is, but like with the reviews, for example, people just automatically feel like they're entitled to, leave negative comments, and there's like a lot of negativity out there. I always love when somebody, looks for like the good stuff. And I kind of feel like if I didn't like something, I just won't leave a review. I'm not going to put,
Right. That's exactly how I
something
am.
negative
Yeah.
out there. But
Right.
there are a lot of folks that they just like to soul crush on people.
Right. They go for the joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think being an actor and even, a producer, when you create something, you got to let that roll off, because especially nowadays, there are those people that just hide behind the keyboard and monitor, and they just love, like, antagonizing, people, and they might not even feel it's bad. It's just those certain people.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that shouldn't discourage anybody, though. Because people, you can't please everybody.
Right.
You got what you. If you have really a story or something to tell, I think you just got to go for it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that hits it right on the head. You cannot please everybody, and that's that old Kenny Rogers song. You can't please everybody, so you might as well please yourself. Like as a kid, I heard that song a million times, and I never really got it. And now it's like, as a creator, like, okay, I think it's a difference between, like, I don't know how to say it, but like before, when I would just do it for myself and I give it away or give it as a gift or something like that, there was no pressure. There was no, anything like that. And now, like, I put stuff out there to the world, and I'm like, do people like it or not like it? Sometimes you never get any feedback or anything like that. And then, I'll give an example. This is a real world example. It happened last week. I know of a best-selling author that they're based out of the UK, and their book got a 1-star negative review on the US side of the Amazon reviews. And it really bothered them. I'm thinking, like, wow, you're a bestseller, and this 1-star review bothered you. And it just goes to show, we are all human, And I felt bad. I felt bad for him, and I was like, I didn't leave a review because I haven't finished the book, because I don't want to. I'm not going to do something that's not, honest and true to myself. But at the same time, I was like, wow, people can be so uplifting, and then there are other folks that, like you said, they hide behind the keyboard, and it's like, man, like, I could take your review, like if you were a contemporary, and you're like, well, and you're out there doing the same thing or doing what I'm wanting to do, I can take that negative comment, but I've never worked with somebody or never been around somebody who's actually doing the doings and they put other people down. It just doesn't happen. Like, most of the time, the people that are creators, they might give you like some feedback that you might not want to hear. That they're like, well, you could do it. You could have done this a little bit better. Like on production or format or whatever. But most of the time, it's just because they want to help you. The folks that kind of down on you, they're not the ones doing. I'm like, I don't know. I think that's the other thing too, like with performances or acting or whatever. I mean, one person might look at somebody's performance and just absolutely love it, while somebody else might, be like, well, what were they doing? Did they even show up to work that day? So I think it's all about, in the mind's eye of the beholder, perception.
You do need, being out here, you do develop a thick skin. I know that I'll never forget the pivoting moment for me was my chrysalis. I wrote a book, my very first novel, full length. I wrote a lot of novellas. And so I finally, I told you, I've been trying to do it for 20 years. I wrote my first full-length novel. And I never forget a review. This is about 3-4, maybe it was way before I started writing films. And it's still out there, the review, on Amazon, and it was so it was really pretty scathing, and I was just shocked because I was kind of so new, and you're right, I've been in the arms of the creative community that were either giving helpful critiques or or whatnot, but I never just had that pretty strong of a review. And I remember right then, I felt like I was at a crossroads, that I was either going to stop writing or I was going to keep on. And I remember sitting my daughter down. I got tears already. And I read her the review, and I said, I want you to hear what they're saying, because basically it was just, you need to stop writing, you're terrible, blah, 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 blah. And I said, so we're at a cross point, so I'm letting you hear this. The next time, if you hear me come to you, or if you see a positive review, or not positive review, or, you know, something better than that one, that would show that I didn't give up. I can't remember what I said to her, but I remember it was in that vein. But I wanted her to see it. And I stopped writing for a year, and I joined a writing group. And then through that writing group, I started taking more writing classes. I mean, keep in mind, I've been writing since I was 10, but I took more formalized things as far as learning different things, and then I started slowly going back into writing, and then I wrote some more books, and then I switched. I just found screenwriting. Now, even with my script, Love is Contract, oh my God, you were talking about formatting. I do not know why can I get the formatting right on Love is Contract, but that was more of a, both type thing. But I remember that journey brought me to screenwriting, and I didn't stop. So I guess I'm telling the story for those that, it happens. And you can go, just if anyone even cares, but just go to Chrysalis, and it's there. And I remember it just really it hurt. And but I just said,
totally feel that.
And I said, I'm going to either stop or I'm going to keep going. So
I'm glad you kept going.
4 years later, 3 projects and films, I didn't stop. So that's the thing. You just can't.
I wouldn't have met you if you quit. We wouldn't have met. We
honestly. Wouldn't have met. I wouldn't have met you. I would have met Erwin. I wouldn't have met all these wonderful people.
I'm so glad that you kept going.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And my daughter, she's a dancer. She went to school for dance, but she found the acting bug because she was very sweet.
She's so fabulous, too. She is so fabulous.
And then she wants to do that. So you never know.
Yeah.
You can't give up because you can help someone else.
Yeah, she's just wonderful. I enjoyed talking with her when she was on the show too, and I love her acting performances. So, what about you, Erwin?
I'm excited because she's taking acting lessons now, and she's really taking it serious. And
I was surprised.
How do you handle those negative vibes or reviews from people? Like, because I know you said there's some people out there like, they're just keyboard warriors or whatever. But how do you roll it off?
Oh, you're talking to me?
Yeah.
And, I've always had a thick skin, so it doesn't. I don't know if.
Well, impart some of that knowledge with us there, Erwin. So for some of us that are little tender-hearted, sensitive people, come on, tell us how to be tougher.
I know. I'm always falling apart.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying things don't affect me, or
I am a machine. You cannot hurt my feelings.
It does affect you, but you got to realize, especially if you're young and you haven't, it's the first time you're going through it, or the first time somebody criticizes you. You just got to realize that it's not the end of the world, and it's not. It's not you have to please them. You got to just be happy with what you do and what you create. And you got to realize some people are not authentic with their review, and the ones that are trying to tear you down, they really have their own issues, and it's not really about you. So if it's not like a review, which is like you said, Adam, being authentic. You might give somebody a bad review, but you're giving them positive feedback on it.
Yeah.
So those people that are just downright ugly about what Michelle went through, I think I heard, they're not really.
They get a boost from hurting other people down. They get a little. They love hurting other people's feelings, and they get a little boost from it. And narcissistic behavior. It's just not. You know.
Yeah, and it's sad. And for me, even though I'm an '80s child, and I grew up in New York, and I'm not as sensitive, or no, I shouldn't say sensitive. That's the wrong way. I mean, I'm very empathetic, but
You can call me sensitive, Erwin. I don't care. Not gonna hurt my feelings. I know I'm tenderhearted and sensitive. You're not gonna hurt my feelings. So go ahead. Just step all over me, Erwin. I know you want to. Go ahead, say
I'm
it.
not saying that. I don't want to get a lot of comments saying, "Well, you're this and this." I mean, I do like feel that. It's just
Yeah, some of us wear our hearts on our sleeves. I know that. I mean,
It's just like I have a lot of actor friends, and especially young ones like Gree's age. And I know actors that they're a lot more in tune to reviews and critics, and I tell them, especially the ones that do have suffer from mental illness, because actors are a special breed, and artists in general, and I would say don't keep it in, don't talk to yourself. I mean, I'm lucky that I have lots and lots of friends all my life growing up. And even in high school, I had like multitude of friends from different backgrounds and different ethnicities, and we were very different. So I learned a lot of cultures. I learned a lot of stuff. I learned a lot of curse words in different languages too. But,
yeah. Aren't those always the first words you learn in a different language? You always learn the cuss words.
Yeah, but I would say don't keep it in. You're not alone, and you have people to talk to, and I know if somebody's listening, and they're going through that. I mean, you can look up my website and email me, because I like meeting new people, especially artistic and creative people, and especially people that are going through that, because I have a lot of artist friends, especially actors that I've known that throughout the years that they did come to me, and I go to them when I'm having a hard time.
Oh yeah, we all need a support network. I mean, like there's always that if you can be that person, it's wonderful. And if you can lean on somebody when you need that person, it's wonderful. And if you don't have somebody there with you, I mean, like, honestly, I love that you put yourself out there and say, hey, if you feel like that, contact me, talk to me. I love that. That is just incredible. I mean, because there's so many people out there who are generous and that are, they actually love other people. I love people, I mean, I'm not saying that I love everybody, but I do love people, I know, Michelle, you're like that too. You're a very kind-hearted person. And Erwin, you seem like a pretty decent stand-up kind of guy. This is actually, everybody, this is the first time Erwin and I have ever chatted, on any capacity, really. But I love that. I mean, that's, it just goes to show that people are people, and we all have different strengths. We all have different things, like where we're, like certain things bother us more. Like I'll be honest with you, I do not like when people are rude. Like if I'm out somewhere and somebody's being rude for no reason, I'm like, look, buddy, I didn't cause your bad day. Please don't take it out on me, type thing.
Yeah.
And I'll try to be nice, and but if I have to put my foot down, I'll put my foot down. But I don't like confrontation like that, But there's other days where we all have our ups and downs. We all have our different things, and so I think it's pretty cool that you're willing to talk and be mentored and mentor other folks. That's pretty sweet. So. I think I missed the station ID real quick. Sorry, y'all. I got to do the station ID. Everybody, you're listening to WRUU LP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. And, we've got about 5 minutes left, y'all. So where can folks find your production work? We'll start with you, Michelle.
On Vimeo right now, Vimeo on demand and Amazon Prime, and you could just we have Caduceus on Amazon and everything else. So on Vimeo, you could just kind of Google 4CW Media Productions and it should come up.
And I'll also have this in the links on the podcast as well, everybody, so you can listen to it too.
There you go.
Yeah.
And the link.
Yeah. And Erwin, how about yours?
You can just go to my website, www.nextedgefilms.com, and all my current production with the Rogues Gallery is there. You can also find us on our Facebook page, just facebook.com/NextEdge Films.
Nice.
And those are the main two sites.
Nice. Hey, I wanted to ask you too, Erwin, since I just connected with you, I just started checking out your your Instagram and stuff like that. Do you do any kind of like little short tips on acting or directing or anything like that? And I know, Michelle, I know you're more of a behind the scenes, so I know you probably wouldn't be comfortable doing videos like that, but maybe articles would be really cool. But do you have anything like that, Erwin, that you do?
I do not, mainly because I've been way too busy with my projects and other people's projects. Usually I refer them to my acting coach because she's much better teacher than I am.
Oh, okay.
I try to give my friends and whoever asks me tips, and they can email me on any of my social media, and I'll help them out.
Well, if you ever do, I would love to watch those, because I mean, you seem like a pretty interesting guy, and you seem like a really, like, just watching your performances. You are a very talented and skillful actor, so I enjoy your performances. And Michelle, I would love to read, like, on the same vein here, I would love to read, like, your thoughts on that, and, like with directing and that kind of thing. And I know y'all are so like productive. I don't like to say busy, but you are very productive people. So it's just wonderful to be able to talk with you today. So
thank you for having us. Thank you.
Do y'all have anything else you want to add right before we go? Because we got like 2 minutes left.
I look forward to hearing more about your show and speaking about your book, because it was very interesting when I was reading the bio for Devil's Due.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's great. Michelle, you have any final words?
I'm looking forward to chatting with your group, with the authors from Devil's Due, and I enjoyed the book, so I did a review. And for those that are listening, please, if you got a dream, go for it.
That's so
now.
awesome. That was so awesome. I couldn't agree with you more. I think that's great. So, well, thank you all for being on the show today. I really appreciate it. And if y'all are just catching it, you can catch the podcast. You can listen to both hours on the AdamMessershow.com, and we'll have all the links that they were talking about. Michelle and Erwin's links to their stuff, so you can check out all their stuff. And I've watched Monstrum, and I've watched When Androids Dream, and I do recommend it. I think it's a great production for both of them, and I'm looking forward to seeing the Lover's Contract and Rogues Gallery. I think it's going to be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it. That'll be like a next fall type thing, but it's pretty awesome. So, all right, y'all. Thanks a lot for being with us today on the show.
Thank you, Adam.